Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light. Welcome to the Connecting with Coincidence radio show with Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD, bringing together the world's synchronicity experts to help you use meaningful coincidences to develop spiritually, psychologically, and practically. For more information, put Connecting with Coincidence into your web browser to find the book, website, Psychology Today blog, YouTube channel, and Facebook page. And now, here is the host of the Connecting with Coincidence radio show, Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD.
Yes. Welcome. I'm Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD, and this is Connecting with Coincidence. And I'm going to start off with a story because we're talking today with Alessandra Melas, a philosophy professor, and we're going to answer some difficult questions about coincidences, about how do you know the coincidence incidents are separate from each other, that they are independent. And here's the story. In 2015, Sharon Hewitt-Rowlett was thinking intensely about an old friend with whom she had lost contact. She was on a weekend getaway in Pennsylvania with some college friends. The old friend was living in France, where she had spent much time. Both the friend and France were heavily on her mind. As she and one of her college friends were searching for the supermarket to buy provisions for their evening meal, her companion pulled out her smartphone and asked it for the nearest grocery store. The phone displayed a list of grocery stores in the immediate vicinity, as it should. But when Sharon took the phone and tapped Map to find the closest store, the stores it displayed were all labeled E. Leclerc, the name of a French supermarket chain. One of the towns was Carhaix. Her companion had never used her phone for directions in France. So how did this happen? As she later found out, her French friend, at the same time this happened on her cell phone, was less than 2 miles away from Carhaix on that same day. Their subsequent discussion helped her heal an old wound and gave her much peace and joy. So there are two incidents here. One, that the phone in Pennsylvania mapped a French location, and that her friend in France was there on the same day while Sharon was in Pennsylvania. So we're going to talk today with Alessandra Melas, who graduated in philosophy at the University of Bologna. She received her PhD with a dissertation in causal realism in quantum mechanics at the University of Sassari. She was visiting researcher at the philosophy department of Rutgers University. She currently collaborates with the University of Sassari, where she carries out research concerning, get this, metaphysics of science and the philosophy of science. And what she does is deals mainly with causality, causal models, and chance. And that all that has to do with coincidences. And she has written several papers on coincidences, which will be hard for you to understand because I don't get them quite yet either. But these are basic philosophical notions we need to understand about coincidences. Cournot's notion of hazard, an objective conception of chance, an ontic conception of chance in Monod's non-teleological evolutionary biological theory. Another one, absolute coincidences and Salmon's interactive fork model. And the final one I'm listing is the shape of absolute coincidences, Salmon's interactive fork model as shape of coincidental processes. There are coincidences mentioned in here, and we're going to figure out just what Alessandra is talking about. Welcome to the show. Alessandra?
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Hi, Bernie. So this is a very nice and generous presentation. Thank you, and thanks to all of the people who are listening too. I'm quite glad to talk with you today, and I feel like a star in some sense.
Well, you will be a star, especially if you can help us understand what it is that you're doing. But before you get into the specifics of separating out coincidental process as independent or trying to figure that out, how did you get interested as a philosopher in coincidences?
As you know, probably we can find many definitions of coincidences, but the most popular ones come from the French tradition. Few years ago, I fell in love with a definition of coincidence that Jacques Monod gave in his Chance and Necessity. Le hasard et la nécessité is the original title of the book. Actually, I knew about Monod's definition of coincidental events by chance. I was interviewing a student during an exam, and he asked to me, do you know Monod's example concerning coincidences? And I have replied, oh no, can you tell me? And when he showed me the example, I thought, oh my God, this is quite interesting. Let me study this a little bit. It was just by chance.
Yeah, that's the way things happen. Do you remember the story that the student told you?
Can you repeat your question, excuse me?
Do you remember the coincidence story that the student told you?
Okay, so the coincidence story just was about an example that Monod gave in his book. This example is very popular. Let me say something about this example. So we have a doctor, Dr. Dupont, who is going to visit a patient for the first time. In the meanwhile, Mr. Dubois is fixing a roof in the same area. And when Dr. Dupont comes across Mr. Dubois' work site, Mr. Dubois' hammer falls inadvertently down, and the trajectory of the hammer intersects the trajectory of Dr. Dupont, who dies. This is exactly the example that the student gave me.
And the two parts of this is that the Dr. Dupont is going to go visiting the patient, and around the same time, a hammer falls on the patient's head.
Yeah, so the example, so the meeting between the hammer falling down and Dr. Dupont head is a coincidence, according to Monod. He calls Monod, Monod calls these kind of intersections absolute coincidences. So here we have an intersection between the two independent causal lines, causal trajectories, the trajectory of the hammer and the trajectory of the daughter, which meet in a certain point and at the same time, and this meeting is what Monod calls exactly absolute coincidences.
So the doctor arrives at his patient's
at the same time.
At the same time that the hammer falls on the patient's head.
Exactly.
And the point here is that the hammer falling and the doctor coming to visit are independent events.
Exactly. Yes.
That it come together at the same time. Okay.
Yeah. According to this example, it's like you say, exactly like you say. And so the core of this conception, this definition of coincidental chance, of coincidental events, is exactly the independence between the two intersecting causal lines. Monod thinks,
let's just go into this the way philosophers do it, that the Dr. Dupont coming to see his patient has nothing to do with the hammer falling off the roof.
Exactly.
And there is no way of connecting those two events. And that's the point I want to be able to make for our listeners, is that this absolute coincidence, you mean by that, is that you cannot find a way in which the hammer falling and the doctor coming are related to each other.
Also, there is, yes. So Monod thinks that the two intersecting causal lines are completely independent. And if they are completely independent, then the meeting between the two causal lines is a coincidence. This is not a new definition of a coincidence. So it comes from the French, very old French tradition. In Cournot, in Antoine Agustin Cournot, we can find a very similar example. So in this example, we have a Parisian who is going out and
what going out?
Is going to have a walk out Paris, and he takes a train to reach his destination. But the train goes off the rail, and the Parisian is the poor victim in this example. So we have. Even in this example, we have two intersecting causal lines which are independent. That is, the Parisian in the train and the train which goes off the rail. But we can find something of very similar even in Aquinas, in Boetius, and in Jean de la Placette. The idea has a very long French tradition. The idea that coincidences are events which come from the intersection between two or more independent causal chains or lines. Of course, we can find counterexamples.
We're coming to the end of this segment, and the examples you've given with the train and the hammer have to do with bad things happening at intersection.
They are not kind of a tragic example.
They're tragic examples. We deal with positive ones here also, and what makes a coincidence is that they happen at the same, the lines come together at the same time. So
and the same place also place is very important in these kind of examples.
We are listening to Connecting with Coincidence. I'm your host, Dr. Bernie Beitman on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, and our guest is Alessandra Melas.
It's hard to listen to the news without realizing we're living in volatile, unprecedented times. Yet never has there been such an opportunity to transform the human condition. As old structures fail, where can we find the guidance to co-create a better way? Find Your Path Home is an ever-evolving, leading-edge information, education, and healing resource center designed to support and guide you on your path to unity and enlightenment. Based on sound principles employed by shamans worldwide, we provide techniques that can support you through the current transitions, offering online shamanic classes, international long-distance shamanic healing sessions, complimentary Mission Evolution radio episodes and Stairway to Heaven TV vignettes, seminars, retreats, and much more. All of this can be found on findyourpathhome.com.
So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me. simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
Path Home Shamanic Art School proudly presents the Gathering of Shaman 2019 Fall Retreat, Manifestation Samhain. Join me, certified shamanic instructor Gwilda Wiyaka, in the magnificent Colorado Mountains this November 2nd and 3rd for a life-changing event. Participate in unique teachings and ceremonies that'll put the power and magic of shamanic manifestation into your hands. Sit in circle with like-minded individuals, sharing group energy and the power it generates. Classes will be held in a facility next to the beautiful, majestic Arkansas River, further empowering the experience. Space is limited, so reserve your spot today. For more information, visit findyourpathhome.com or email touchin@findyourpathhome.com.
Welcome back to CC with BB. I'm your host, Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD. We are talking with Alessandra Melas, and we're talking about absolute coincidences. And what we mean by that are two independent events that come together at the same time. And that is the basic definition of a coincidence. The two causal lines are not related to each other. We can't accept that they come together at the same time. My question still is, when you heard that example from one of your students, Alessandra, how come it grabbed your attention so that you are spending a lot of your career studying coincidences?
Okay. So I think that now I can say that this example, what happened exactly is funny. So after many years, I can say that the story I am going to tell you is quite funny, but I'm not sure it was so funny when it happened. So then when I was a high school student, one day I pretended to be very sick to escape the English class. Of course, I was perfectly able to avoid the class, but the same day, in the evening, I have taken the insane decision to go out for doing shopping in a big city close to the little town I used to live and study. I was also pretty sure my English teacher could not be there, since at that time she should have been in another city for an important conference. But I was very unlucky because the conference was delayed and my teacher decided to go out for a drink with her friends in the same city I was. And very unfortunately, we bumped into each other, and of course, my lie was easily discovered. And during English classes, I suffered for all of the year school, and it is also the reason I think because my English is still so bad. I apologize. I speak a very Italian English, but it's the only one I can speak. But this is my fault because I have tried to escape English class inventing a lie, a story. Making up a story, a fake story, and I was discovered, and my teacher didn't forgive me for what I have done, and it was a disaster for all of the year. I was so every time nervous for what I did, and my English. Is still bad. So.
Well, you're understandable enough, and so let's not worry about that too much. It's when we get into when you also intersperse French in the middle of what you're talking about that gets to be a little hard to follow.
My French is even worse.
Well, you're quoting some French authors, so, and you say it in French, so that gets a little hard for me to be able to follow. But let's go. So here, young Alessandra is like wants to miss her English class, and she goes to a big city near her small town, and there runs into her teacher. Mm-hmm. Now, this is not to me so absolutely absolute coincidence. The way the hammer and the doctor arriving are absolute, in the sense those are two much more likely independent events. But I have an idea called human GPS, human geospatial positioning system, that somehow we end up being where we need to be without knowing how we get there. And here you are in a big city, I mean a good-sized town, and there's the teacher. So I don't think it's so independent that the two of you showed up at the same place at the same time.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. So to say that the meeting between me and the English teacher was a coincidental event, we need more than the independence between the two causal chains. And also one can say that the two causal lines here, I mean, me going to the city to do shopping and my teacher going to meet her friends in the same city are not so independent. Maybe they are only partially independent, but not totally independent. So let me say something more about this. Okay, so even, and also I disagree with you when you say that in Monod's example, we get real absolute coincidences, because one can object that the independence is not real, even in this example. A judge, for example, could sentence the owner of the hammer to life in prison for premeditated murder. Another person who is very religious could say Hammer's trajectory and Dr. Dupont's are not independent, since God wanted to make them intersect. That is, the intersection is the fruit of a divine contrivance.
Very good, very good, yeah.
Again, one could say that everything in the universe is related because everything is a part of a huge net and so on. So we can find many counterexamples of the reality of the independence. It's not so simple to define independence, but I think your question is the question concerning independence is the question about coincidences. In fact, the biggest problem when we are trying to prove the possibility of an objective existence of coincidences is to prove that the independence is real. Cournot, who I have already quoted, said, for example, that some causal chains are independent of each other if they develop without having the slightest influence over one another, or without exerting, upon one another an influence which can be manifested by appreciable effects.
Now, I didn't understand that. You're reading it, and I can tell that. And could you translate that again, just how you determine the independence of the causal events?
So before replying your question, I think I have to reply another question. What does independence mean? Good. So if it means global, that is, there is not at all a causal link between the causal lines we are taking into consideration,
right,
and the intersecting causal lines involved do not share at all any common cause in their past, then coincidences do not exist. Since global independence is impossible. To be more clear, if to say that the two or more processes are independent of each other, we need also to say that they must not share any common cause in their past, near or far, or must not be connected by any causal link, direct or indirect, then independent causal lines do not exist. Trivially, the Big Bang can be, for example, a common cause in the past of the causal lines considered. Big Bang can be the cause of the common cause of everything.
Yeah, and so because of the Big Bang idea, everything was at once together, and
yes.
so everything is linked because they started together.
Exactly. Yes, but differently, if independence means local, then it can be admitted some indirect causal link between the causal lines we are taking into consideration. That is, it can be admitted that the causal lines are linked, but there are many intermediates between them. When I say indirect, I mean that. Or it can be admitted that the intersecting causal lines involved share some ancient common cause in their past. If this is the case, we can get real independence, and we can talk also about something like a degree of independence. The more are the intermediates, the higher is the degree of independence. The more ancient is the common cause, the higher is the degree of independence. To sum up,
wait. The more ancient the dependence, the more independent they are. And what was the first thing you said besides ancient? More the first thing, the more something they are. Besides ancient, the more independent they are.
Yes, if yes. So if the common cause is in the very, very past,
like the Big Bang,
then we can say yes that in some sense it's not relevant. The Big Bang is too ancient to be considered as a relevant common cause for any couple and so on of causal lines. So that we can keep on considering the causal lines involved still independent in some sense.
Okay, so ancient is one. And what else helps determine relative independence?
Yes, the independence in this case is not absolute, but it's even it's still a kind of independence.
Okay,
also,
I understand. We have about 20 seconds left on this. So what we're talking about here, Alessandra, is relative independence. Because what I focus on is relative dependence. Because I look for these causal lines coming together as suggesting that there may be something that links them. So you're listening to the Connecting with Coincidence. I'm your host, Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. Our guest is Alessandra Melas.
Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
Yes. You're listening to Connecting with Coincidence. I'm your host, Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD, and we are talking with Alessandra Melas about some fundamental philosophical notions regarding coincidences. How do we think about the independence, say, of two causal lines that come together at the same time? How do we determine or think about their independence? Because that's usually the question we raise. While Alessandra, as a philosopher, is looking for relative independence, I look for relative dependence. But I have to look on both sides of that coin, because they're both so important in understanding what we mean by coincidence explanation. So, Alessandra, would you talk more about our ways of thinking about partial independence?
Okay. Independence, as you already said, could also mean partial independence. That is, the causal lines involved share some common causes, but not all common causes. Such as in the example that I have given to you with me and my English teacher. So concerning that, I have another example which is not mine. It comes from David Owens, and I think is very interesting. So in this example, he supposes to be on a cruise. So that suppose that I am on a cruise, and I am on the same cruise as my old enemy. Perhaps a full explanation of why I am on that cruise will have nothing in common with a full explanation of why he is on that cruise. But this is unlikely. Suppose that, for example, I am cruising partially because the weather is hot and I wish to escape to the cool sea. This may well be why he is cruising also. So there is at least one causal factor which is relevant both to my presence and to his presence on the liner. And he is on that particular boat partially because it is calling at ports next to antiquities, which would bore me. But he doesn't know anything about the fact that on the liner there is a rock band, for example, a jazz band, who I like, which I like. So there are causal factors which are relevant to my presence, but not to his presence, and vice versa. So in this example, which is very simple, I think, we can see that there is a kind of partially independence, because the two causal lines, me cruising and my old enemy cruising in the same boat at the same time, share at least one common cause: the fact that in the city is too hot and we both want to escape this hot weather, and this is the reason because we are in the line.
But why would you be on the same boat?
Yeah, the same boat. We are probably in the same boat because there is only one boat. Okay, only one line.
Okay.
Okay. Suppose the line there is only one line, and we are in that boat because we wanted to escape the hot weather.
There's another.
But I am also in that boat because I want to see the rock band. Okay. He doesn't know anything about that rock band concert, and he is on the boat also because he wanted to reach the opposite side of the river to go to see these antiquities. Okay.
Okay.
And so we are sharing some causal factor, but not others.
And you have different reasons for being on the boat. There's another variable that also fits, that brings you two together, is that both of you have maybe come from the same socioeconomic group. So both of you have the money to pay for the boat ride, and both of you know about it because other people in your group or you've been on it already before.
I absolutely agree with you. So maybe there are also other reasons because we are both in the same liner. For example, even the fact that there is only one liner, it can be a common cause.
Yeah.
For example, of the fact that we are both in the same boat and not in another one.
What about the idea that meeting him on the boat or seeing him on the boat can be an opportunity for the two of you to resolve the conflict between the two of you?
Maybe, but he doesn't want to meet me, and also so he didn't want to meet me, and also I didn't want to meet him.
But
so
nevertheless, we could say that fate or God or
maybe God wants that we meet each other because
or that somehow this is an opportunity. And one of the things about coincidences is they present opportunities to people, and opportunities which you can decide to take or not. And we get into the question of free will, is that here you are, each of you, enemies, who know each other because you're enemies, and you've had something happen between the two of you to make you enemies. So you have a relationship that could be resolved, or at least attempted to be resolved, even if you didn't want to. It's an opportunity there that you can decide by your ability to decide to do something about and resolve it, or as you are saying, we don't want to do it, so we're not going to.
Yeah, so when you say opportunities or opportunity, you are using a word that in some sense is not free from some epistemic view, so perspectival, when I mean, or perspectivist view. So it's a psychological, so opportunity is a psychological term in some sense. So here you are pointing out the fact that maybe in coincidences there are some aspects that are not only physical, but there is something of psychological in coincidences that make coincidences to be coincidental events.
Right.
I completely agree with you. So here, for me, it's relevant the fact that the person who is in the boat is my old enemy. And so here relevance and also expectations, my personal past is very, very important in order to say that the fact that I meet my old enemy in the same boat at the same time is a coincidence. So we can suppose, for example, that the independence is real, however we want, global, local, or partial. But someone can still object that not every event that comes from the intersection between independent causal lines is a coincidence. I think that the intersecting causal the independence is not sufficient to say that an event is a coincidence. We can suppose that the independence is real, but this is not sufficient to say that that a coincidence is a coincidence only because there is an independence. Okay, I think that coincidences are kind of hybrid objects. They are not purely physical objects in some sense, metaphysically speaking. I think together with another Italian scholar, his name is Pietro Salis from University of Cagliari. He works also in Sardinia, where I am calling or replying from. Do you know Sardinia? It's an Italian island in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, and we both are working on coincidences. Is it not that a coincidence?
Those are coincidences, and they're not independent either. And I mean, part of the fun of this for me is what we mean by coincidence. It's all the same question, because the word coincidence has two different opposite meanings, which is what I love about it. Sometimes it means, as we are talking about, the two independent lines come together, whatever we mean by independent. And sometimes we mean that the two lines come together, and that coincidence means that those two lines are related. Sometimes a coincidence has both meanings depending on who you're talking with.
Yeah, I agree, completely agree with you. So when I say that epistemic aspects, that is knowledge, access to information, expectations, relevance, and significance are important for coincidences, I am saying that coincidences are dependent on psychological aspects, on human reason, in some sense. Okay, so coincidences are independent in some sense. They have they come from the intersection between independent causal lines, but at the same time they are dependent on psychological aspects.
Okay, we're coming to the end of this, and I think what we're sneaking up on as you and I are talking is your concept, or the concept of coincidences being a hybrid. That it's not just independence and that's it. There's something else, and that's psychological going on. You are listening to Connecting with Coincidence. I'm your host, Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD. We are on the X Zone Broadcast Network, and we are talking with Alessandra Melas.
If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide. They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Eli Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world, interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Memorable dynamic presentations are a not-so-secret weapon in the business world. Do you have a powerful message that must be shared, but you haven't found a way to deliver that message? Do you want to be known as a top public speaker who gets amazing results? Are you ready to create and deliver your powerful message? Thomas Hides can help you create and deliver your speech to get the results you desire. Visit iconquality.com.
Did you expect your business to flourish, but instead it plateaued or didn't get off the ground yet? Would you like to achieve massive goals and discover new sources of income within your business? When you're ready to experience that type of success with fast results, Cindy Hendricks is the business coach for you. Her work with entrepreneurs and business owners has been life-changing. To get you and your business where you want to be, go to imaginemoresuccess.com.
Has the fear of public speaking stalled your business or personal life? What would you give to develop and maintain supreme confidence? Have an invaluable private program to always perform at your best. Imagine how you would feel. You can have all that and so much more today with Thomas Hides' life-changing course called Number One Fear Unleashed. Visit numberonefear.com and be liberated from your fear of public speaking.
Okay, hey, welcome back to CC with BB. I'm your host, Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD, and we are talking with Alessandra Melas, a philosophy professor in Italy and sometimes on Sardinia, and we are talking about the independence of the intersecting events that make up a coincidence. And I like to call them the intersecting incidents that make up a coincidence. It makes the language a little cleaner to call each of the events incidents, and they are coincident. But how independent are they? And Alessandra, what I do and what human beings have been doing for a long, long time is looking at coincidences and trying to understand where they might have a causal explanation, where something about the way the world operates is hidden in the way these two incidents come together. It's been in human nature to try to see how that operates. A simple example is lightning and thunder. They happen around the same time. They look like they might be independent because one's sound and one's light. And certainly we were able to figure out that the lightning makes the air expand rapidly and then contract, and that makes for the sound. But that took a long time to figure out. And so incidents coming together suggest there might be a underlying causal explanation. It's been part of human thinking, human rational thinking for a long, long time. So why don't you comment on that and also talk about what you mean by coincidences as hybrid objects?
Okay, so together with Pietro Salis, I think that coincidences are constituted by ontic, that is physical components, in this case the intersections between independent causal chains, plus epistemic aspects. And both of these aspects, objective and epistemic, are essential to get coincidences. And this is exactly what I mean when I say that the coincidences are hybrid objects.
They are both physical and what?
Epistemic.
Epistemic. For our audience, define what you mean by epistemic. Yeah. You are a philosopher. They don't know that word sometimes.
With epistemic, we mean what is related in some sense to knowledge, for example, access to information, but also expectations, relevance, significance. That is probably psychological aspects.
Okay, the psychological aspects and the physical physical aspects. So that's what you mean by there being a hybrid. Okay.
Yeah. More precisely, we start from what Hart and Honoré says in the book Causation in the Law. And we state that the coincidental events are, metaphysically speaking, hybrids constituted by ontic and psychological aspects. Like Hart and Honoré, we say that the coincidences, as well as the fact that they come from the intersection of independent causal lines, are events that are very unlikely by ordinary standards.
Yeah.
For some reasons are significant or important, and they occur without any human contrivance. There is no any intentionality. So we
wait. There's no intentionality.
Intention, maybe. So when I, for example, when I went to do shopping to the city near to my little town, I didn't want to meet my teacher.
You had an intention.
Yeah, I had the intention to go to the city to do shopping.
You had
an intention, but my intention was very different from the intention that my teacher had.
Now, you had an intention not to see your teacher.
Yeah, I had the intention not to see my teacher,
I call that an intention.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't think that I didn't have intentions at all, but my intentions were completely different from my teacher's intentions, or maybe so. I didn't go. So I went to that city not to see my teacher. No, okay, my teacher went to the same city not to see myself, but to visit, to meet her friends. Okay, so in this case, this is, for example, a case in which there was not any human contrivance in this sense. Okay. In this way, we point out the insufficiency of a pure objectivist view of a coincidence and of a purely psychological approach. So when we speak about coincidences on incidences, we talk about something which is not a simple object. So we have in play two different aspects, physical ones, and especially one physical aspect, the intersection between the causal lines, and many psychological aspects, okay? Such as I have already said, the significance, the event must be unlikely, and so on. So in some sense, coincidences are mind dependent. Okay?
Yeah, very, very definitely mind dependent.
Yes.
What you've added, and just for clarity, is that they have to be unlikely, or have another way of saying it. They have to have a low probability, and that's part of the definition. Part of the problem I run into something with statisticians is, what is low enough probability? What do we mean by unlikely? And that becomes subjective, because there's research from England that suggests people are pretty consistent. Subjects in studying coincidences are pretty consistent in defining what they mean by low probability. They will agree that a certain event is low probability. So human beings have that capacity, even if it's hard to put a number on it. They have a sense for that. So low probability, there's a psychological aspect to it, many psychological aspects, as well as the physical of coming together of the two events in the physical world.
Yeah, also I agree with you. So here, when I say unlikely, I mean subjective probabilities, not objective probabilities, because there is a part of the literature, especially philosophical literature, and philosophers and mathematicians also think, a part of this community think that we can talk about objective probabilities. But when I say unlikely, I think something about subjective probabilities.
Very good. I think that's an important point.
I agree with you. It's an important point. So at the end of the day, I can say that the meeting between me and my English teacher was a coincidental event, coming from the intersection of two partial independent causal lines, me going to do shopping in the city and the teacher going to meet her friends in the same city, but that independence was not sufficient.
Now, we only have about 2 minutes left, and I want to change the subject right now, because you're spending, and your colleague is spending, a lot of time and thought on studying coincidences in this way. Why are you doing this? What is your intention?
This question is not very simple, because I like it. There is not any reason, no other particular reason. I really want to understand what coincidences are, because I love it. There are not other particular reasons.
Now that is a really good answer, because that's why I do it, in part. But what you're doing it as a philosopher. As a philosopher, you're trying to understand coincidences because you like to. And we're not going to have time for this, but there are many more people in the world who love coincidences, who are studying them in their own way, and I am one of them, and you are another. And there are people in England who are studying coincidences because they're practical. They are ways of discovering reality. Philosophers are not that practical for the most part. These are psychologists trying to be able to see that these are normal ways of thinking. But they have spent a lot of time on coincidences too, because they find them interesting. They're drawn into them. And I'm trying to be able to collect the names and feelings of people who are studying this subject, because together we can put together pieces of how coincidences operate in the world.
I think this is an amazing work. So the job you are doing is amazing. I think so. This is great. It's great to try to connect all of the people working on this topic together, and I'm very glad to be part of this. In some sense, even for a little bit, a part of this project.
You are part of it, and the Serendipity Society is one place where it's happening. So we've come to the end of this program. We have spoken with Alessandra Melas about coincidences. This is the X Zone Broadcast Network.